This is the news on NTA International. I am Stella Inamiti, and our sign language interpreter is Shegun Ajayi. And now the headlines. Vice President Kashim Shettima commends Northeast Development Commission for investing in education and green technology. US, Russian and Ukrainian officials to meet at a security conference in Munich. Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security optimistic about a bumper wheat harvest this season. Thanks for joining us. Now on the news in full. The stage is set for the 38th African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, in which President Bola Tinubu is equally set to participate for the second time. We join State House correspondent Ms. Bao Dan Wahab for the agenda of the summit.
Yes, it's another decisive moment for African heads of states and governments, with two major agenda before them to decide on this 38th summit coming up tomorrow. And the first one is the launching of the theme of the year, which was decided on in 2023, and that is justice for Africans and people of African descent through reparation. The leaders are looking at some injustices and inequality done to the continent, not just from the days of colonialism, but also in the present day global order or global dynamics, and they are looking at how to reposition the union towards getting justice for people that deserve them. We spoke to Nigerian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, earlier on this, and he gave us some insights into the theme for the year.
Well, it's necessary at this time because I'm sure you're aware of the agitation for the restructuring of the global financial system, and then also for a reform of the global political system as it pertains to the United Nations, and in particular the United Nations Security Council. So the theme speaks to the building of a united front to advance the cause of Africa. You have to look at the format, the suggestions being put forward. It's not just looking back at slavery and colonialism and making excuses. No, we're saying that we look at what happened in the past and use it to advance the future.
The second major issue before the leaders will be the elections of new sets of leaders for the African Union Commission. We have the position of chairperson, which has been zoned to the eastern part of the country, or the continent rather, and three candidates are contesting for that position. Number one is Muhammad Ali Yusuf, a 70-year-old candidate coming from Djibouti. He's been the Minister of Foreign Affairs for that country and also spokesperson for the government. And secondly, he's the former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Amolo Odinga, who was contested for the position of President of that country a record 5 times without succeeding, though. He's contesting for this position is 80-year-old, by the way. And the third candidate is Richard Randria Mandrato from Madagascar, is 66-year-old, by the way, and he's been a minister in different capacity in Madagascar in the past, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Economy and Finance. So three of them are contesting for that position. And for the commissioners in that commission, we have Ambassador Bankole Adeoye, a Nigerian who is returning for the second term as the Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace System Security for the AU Commission. And also a delegation of Nigeria also represented the country at a conversation looking at the possibility of setting up African rating agency to drive investments and development on the continent. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Coordinating Minister of Economy and Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, represented Nigeria at that event. Let's take a listen to the Minister of Information on the imperative of this agency.
Hitherto, access to capital becomes very difficult for people on the African continent. Even when we have the population, we have the investment opportunities, we have projects that are fundable, but because capital is key, it became very, very dear for all African nations to now set up their own rating agency, because the rating agency set up by the West does not favor Africa. Most of the time, you will find investment in Africa suffering because of access to capital, and capital is key in any investment drive that can happen on the African continent. And I think this is a major agenda for the General Assembly of the African Union, and we hope that we see that through. And when that happens, there's going to be a radical shift in terms of capital pull-out for investments on the African continent that will in turn drive prosperity and development for the African countries.
So in all of these, Nigeria, led by President Bola Tinubu, will have a major role to play in deciding on this agenda, and particularly the elections of the leaders for the African Union Summit and other issues to be decided on coming up tomorrow.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Meanwhile, African leaders at the AU Summit in Ethiopia are renewing calls for slavery and colonial reparations, despite resistance from former colonial masters. Colonel Mohammed tells us more.
While the reparation movement is gaining momentum, leaders in the US and Europe have largely dismissed the idea. At the summit, African Union leaders aimed at defining a unified approach, including financial compensation, formal acknowledgement, and policy reforms. Experts argue that Africa's economic struggles, debt crisis, and vulnerability to climate change are rooted in colonial exploitation. Beyond financial payments, reparations can involve land restitution, returning cultural artifacts, and policy changes to address inequalities. Progress in this region has been slow, due chiefly to right-wing opposition in Europe stifling discussions with leaders in Portugal, Britain, and France rejecting reparations. In other news, President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, has paid tribute to 14 peacekeepers repatriated from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Their work in the DRC was not just about maintaining order. It was about building bridges, building peace, fostering understanding, and creating pathways for lasting peace.
The crisis in the DRC formed part of major discussions as African leaders converge in Ethiopia for African Union Summit. Colonel Muhammad, NTA News.
Following the outcry and displeasure over visa denial for Chief of Defense Staff and other senior officers, the High Commission of Canada to Nigeria has reacted to address the issue. In a statement, the Canadian High Commission confirmed being aware of the media reports of the planned travel to Canada by senior officials in the military in honor of veterans across the globe. It, however, stated that for privacy reasons, the Commission would not be making comment in public domain on applicants' visa application status. Many schools and shops were shuttered across eastern Canada. Flights were delayed and driving was treacherous. Canadians reveled in a major snowstorm. A winter storm started blanketing the capital, Ottawa, Wednesday evening, as well as major cities Toronto, Montreal, and Quebec City. It brought a significant snowfall for up to 30 centimeters of snow overnight Wednesday to Thursday, causing blowing snow and limiting visibility, according to Canada's Weather Service. Airlines cancelled or delayed flights at Canada's largest airport in Toronto. A According to weather officials, the average amount of snow falling in eastern Canada has been mostly trending down in recent years. Ukraine and prospects for peace talks preoccupied many at the high-profile global gathering in Munich. Kulu Mohammed tells us more.
After President Donald Trump started with U.S. allies, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and announced the start of talks to end the war in Ukraine, President Donald Trump assured the rest of the world of a high-profile meeting between U.S., Russia, and Ukraine's high profiles.
Russia is going to be there with our people, and Ukraine is also invited, by the way. Not sure exactly who's going to be there from any country, but high-level people from Russia, from Ukraine, and from the United States.
Subsequently, Russia said its officials are not at the Munich Security Conference as they were not invited, rebuffing Donald Trump's claims that U.S. officials could meet with Russian and Ukrainian representatives. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is in Munich, so is Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. In their interface, Zelensky chiefly demanded security assurances from a Russian incursion.
The United States is in the top, yes, and they can stop any evil. And in this case, they have to be on the side of us because they attacked us and occupied us. So we are right and they are not. No compromises in this.
J.D. Vance asked Russia to be ready for peace with Ukraine or risk further sanctions from Washington. Zelensky says he is ready to talk peace with Russia after U.S. and Ukraine agreed position. EU Commission guarantees safety for members and allies, giving the assurance that a single country cannot secure its air, land and waters. And so, for EU, it is one for all and all for one as always. Kulu Mohammed, NTA News.
And back here in Abuja, Vice President Kashim Shettima says the Northeast Development Commission has placed itself on the positive side of history for going beyond infrastructure development to investing in education and green technology through the Accelerated Senior Secondary Education Program. He said this during a meeting with the management team of the NADC, who came to brief him on the level of work on the ASEP project at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. State House correspondent Abdulrahman Jibrila reports.
Accelerated Senior Secondary Education Program, an initiative that began from 100 teachers to 600 in 71 institutions across the 18 senatorial districts of the Northeast, is redefining the educational system in the region, courtesy of the Northeast Development Commission. This meeting is to update the Vice President on the status of the Accelerated Senior Secondary Education Program, describing it as the actual game changer in the age and time, applauding the generative platforms introduced by the program, like the virtual reality headsets, saying they are going along in revolutionizing the learning experience, offering numerous benefits for students, educators and institutions because of the enhanced engagement and motivation.
I think of all the areas of intervention by the NADC, none titillates my imagination, none captivates the spirit of the times greater than this asset in this. It's a soft investment that is really a game changer because in other parts of the world they are embracing digital educational tools because of the numerous benefits it offers, from improved knowledge retention to personalized learning to increase accessibility, because e-handset enables students to engage in remote learning.
He implored the Northeast Development Commission, Ministry of Regional Development and other relevant stakeholders to collaborate and ensure efficiency.
We are looking at so many angles through which we can solve the multifaceted problems we have inherited as a country in the educational sector, especially in the Northeast. The issues arising out of the insurgency, depletion of the numbers of teachers, infrastructure, and issues like that.
We did not import technology. We actually produce homegrown. So it's relatable, it's authentic. It also provides, it was done in Nigeria by Nigerians. So there's an opportunity for content creators to also come on. So it's opening up a whole different opportunity in the region and across the country as well.
The Northeast Development Commission has commenced the process of reviving teacher training education in the region, and a unit within the commission to handle training and capacity building across the educational ecosystem, establishing 18 ICT training centers, laboratories, and other facilities across the Northeast. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. We'll take a break now. More reports shortly. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. To bridge the gap towards the eventual eradication of child labor in Nigeria, the International Labour Organization has launched a website and mobile app where cases of child labor can be reported. NTAi reports.
In the data presented by the ILO, over 26 million children in Nigeria are allegedly engaged in child labor. The 2013 National Policy for the Elimination of Child Labor mandated National Steering Committee on Child Labor to be inaugurated to implement action plans to eliminate child labor. To this end, the committee has developed a website which will be the knowledge and reporting platform on child labor to rid the society of this menace.
I do take note of the existence of a national referral mechanism for the elimination of child labor to guide and to aid the usage of this reporting app, and I really want to thank Nigeria for this steady progress.
Minister of State, Labor and Employment says the war against child labor is one the federal government is fighting at all levels, which is gaining momentum.
This website and app will not only enhance data collection and case management, but also reinforce Nigeria's commitment to eradicating child labor in line with Sustainable Development Goal SDG 8.7.
The National Steering Committee on Child Labor and other stakeholders conveys the need for all members of the society to take advantage of the website, which is www.endchildlabor.ng, and report or track child labor cases, as building a child labor-free society is a responsibility on every Nigerian's shoulder. In Abuja, Frama Pani, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is optimistic about a bumper wheat harvest this season, which is expected to significantly reduce the need for wheat imports. This positive outlook comes in the wake of President Tinubu's intervention, during which agricultural inputs were provided to farmers at subsidized prices across all wheat-producing states. Musa Babani has the details.
The weather in Jigawa State is chilly and windy, creating an ideal environment for wheat plants to thrive and yield a plentiful harvest. And these farmers are irrigating their fields and removing unwanted weeds, while birds soar above, searching for insects to eat. The farmers are part of more than 60,000 who joined the federal government's wheat production initiative. Abdullahi Dogo informed me that the wheat seeds he received are of high quality, germinated well, and he is expecting a bountiful harvest. Dogo is not alone. All the farmers who benefited from the program in Jigawa State have a success story to share.
The federal government seed, it is germinated well. With normal recommendation, it will germinate more. The seed is good.
In Kano, more than 20,000 wheat farmers have received support in the form of seeds and other inputs. A visit to some of their farms reveals that the crop are thriving, leading to high expectations of a bountiful harvest at the end of the season. Abdul
Abdullahi Ishaku, National Agricultural Seed Council of Nigeria, informed me that the agency certified all the seeds provided to farmers prior to planting.
Even the seed companies play a great role this time around because they were able to establish a good number of fields which are very good and fantastic, supervised and inspected by the staffs of National Agricultural Seed Council.
The wheat revolution is being carried out as part of the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and agri-budget of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. It is believed that if Nigeria successfully enhances its wheat production, the country could save approximately 1.2 trillion naira or around $1.9 billion, which it currently spends annually on importing the crop. From Kano, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And on health matters, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, says Nigeria is leading by example in health sector investment and reform as it expands primary health care and improve national health insurance coverage with more than 18 million Nigerians. Coordinating Minister notes that the policies of President Bola Tinubu, who serves as the African Union's champion for health, has enabled the expansion of health workforce quotas for training nurses, pharmacists, medical students and laboratory scientists to increase from 20,000 to 64,000. Federal government, he says, is also set to increase the retirement age for skilled health professionals from 60 to 65 years of age. Professor Pate, while representing President Bola Tinubu at the African Union's Ministerial Executive Conference in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, states that 12 million Nigerian girls have been immunized against HPV over the past 12 months, despite significant changes in global health financing that Nigeria is now using as a platform for innovative adaptation and growth.
All in all, to mobilize the sector in an integrated manner from the front end to the midpoint, the secondary facilities and the high-level facilities, we see it as a whole system that had to be reimagined with referral system, linking with emergency services for those who need it, the ambulance scheme that we are expanding, the blood transfusion services, and at the higher end, the more expensive medical care that ought to be provided, because not everything will be dealt with at the primary healthcare level. It's the foundation and has to be strong. So beyond financing, we also looked at the human resources side.
It's St. Valentine's Day with a unique significance for many who choose to reflect on love, compassion and selflessness. But issues of love and trust are becoming more complex and complicated by the day. What then is love? Monsieur Damian Dati will try to find out in this report.
Story has it that Emperor Claudius had banned marriages for young men in the 3rd century Rome. However, Valentine, a Roman priest, had defied the order to secretly join soldiers in holy matrimony. The priest was set to be executed after signing off a letter to his blind jailer's daughter with the inscription, "Your Valentine, the birth of Valentine's Day," commemorating love, marriages, and sacrifice.
Every February 14th, we celebrate our love. I told him out, we have a feeling of love. That was the day we used to tell I tried to because to my wife and she said yes.
My Valentine is every day with him.
Our mothers, our sisters, and our daughters, they care for us all the time. So we need to care for them.
Love. What does it mean?
I don't know that to talk about, but there was this strong feeling that I felt.
Love between family, love between friends, love between those that have feelings for each other.
At what point can one know the difference between true love, infatuation, and obsession?
When the chips are down, you discover that you don't begin to enrage. It might be because the man or the woman is not looking so pretty or so adoring
when they first met. But mind you, love has no age, no honor.
We need to dig deep. We need to know who are the classmates of this person whom you want to get married. Who are his parents? What was his characteristics when he was growing up? What was the background of his parents or her parents? See, this is the safety net in the event there are problems.
President Muhammadu Buhari has equally expressed... President Bola Tinubu has described the passing of one of Afenifere's leaders, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, as sorrowful. In a statement, President Tinubu says Nigeria has lost a political leader whose decades of unwavering struggle for justice, democracy, and national unity have left an indelible mark in our nation's history, saying all who knew about Baba Adebanjo drew from his boundless wisdom and cherished the democratic ideals he tirelessly campaigned for, noting his principled voice, which resonated through decades of political activism, will be deeply missed. As a nation, he will be deeply missed with his regular interventions in national affairs, which enrich the country's political discourse. As a lawyer, statesman, and politician, he stood amongst the last of a generation of nationalists and independent heroes who shaped the foundation of Nigeria. Former President Muhammadu Buhari has equally expressed sadness on the demise of the nation's most notable leaders, Chief Ayo Adebanjo. He described his death as a loss for the nation. He said late Chief Adebanjo was one of those rare politicians who straddled the world's legal professions, politics, and socio-cultural activism. And that's it on NTA International News this evening. Thanks for joining us. Good evening.